this repeating theme of the Rams are moving, no doubt performed for us by Lucia Pamela and her band of musical pirates, dates back to 1937. They were the Cleveland Rams of the third American Football League. The one you know about from the 60s was the fourth American Football League. The Cleveland Rams moved from the AFL to the NFL in 1937, and then they moved to Los Angeles in 1946, and then the owner Bob Irsay moved them, traded them straight up for the Colts in 1972, and then they moved to Anaheim in 1980, and then Georgia Rosenblum tried to move them to Baltimore in 1993. And then finally she did move them to St. Louis 20 years ago Saturday. St. Louis, of course, had already had an NFL team move in and out, the Cardinals, who blew in from Chicago in 1960, but who by 1985 were being shopped around to Baltimore and Jacksonville and Phoenix, which is where, of course, they moved in 1988. Which brings us back to how the Rams might wind up moving to Los Angeles again. L.A. is the revolving door of sports franchises. Almost nothing is original to the community. The L.A. Dodgers are, of course, from Brooklyn. The L.A. Lakers from Minneapolis. The L.A. Clippers from San Diego, before that Buffalo. The L.A. Rams from Cleveland. The L.A. Raiders moved in from Oakland and then moved right back out. And the teams that actually started in L.A. pretty much either vanished. The football L.A. Dons, the hockey L.A. Sharks, 206 different soccer teams, or they moved away, the L.A. Chargers, the L.A. Angels, the basketball L.A. Stars. Basically, the only L.A.-born L.A. team is the Kings. And while this seems to symbolize the cliche of Los Angeles, city of transient angels, anybody actually from here? No? Anybody actually got a screenplay at Paramount? What, all of you? In reality, this goes back a full century. Los Angeles had two minor league baseball teams, the LA Angels and the Vernon Tigers. And the Vernon Tigers played in the little town of Vernon because early in the 20th century, there were only two municipalities in Southern California where you could legally sell alcohol. And one of them was Vernon. In 1913, the Vernon Tigers moved to the other municipality where you could legally sell alcohol, Venice, California. And 100 years ago this summer, they moved back to Vernon. And then in 1926, they moved to San Francisco. Well, that left a void in L.A., so somebody bought the Salt Lake City team and moved it and called them the Hollywood Stars. And obviously, they later moved away to San Diego, too, because the L.A. ballpark owners raised the rent, which meant there was yet another void, which was solved when somebody bought the old Vernon team that had moved to Venice and then back to Vernon, then to San Francisco. They bought it back to L.A. as the new Hollywood Stars. And, of course, 20 years later, they and the L.A. Angels had to move out when, naturally, the Dodgers moved in. Got all that? Good, because basically what it means is, yes, Saturday is the 20th anniversary of an LA team moving out. But actually, almost any day on the calendar is some kind of an anniversary of an LA team moving out. Or in. Or both. Hey, what you there with?